Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Shed Gospel. It's Nigel Woolley. Praise the Lord. Today, guys, I just want to share with you that I've written a letter to the chair of the Cyber Security Inquiry in New South Wales. And what's happened is that late last year, the Auditor General had released a very scathing report that the entirety of New South Wales government systems are very compromisable, very prone to hacking. And anyway, what's happened is in March, April this year, in 2020, there was a hacking at Service New South Wales. 186,000 victims lost their data, they lost privacy, and there's been many flow-on effects. There's been, hundreds of thousands of documents gone missing, And basically what's happened here is that they've opened up an opportunity to make submissions to the Cybersecurity Inquiry. And that closed on September 20th, 2020. But they're still rolling the letters out for notifying customers that their stuff has been breached at Service New South Wales. So the inquiry has closed their submissions at the Parliament level, but the letters are still being rolled out to the victims until December. Anyway, I've made a submission today to the chair of the Cybersecurity Inquiry because I'd missed the opportunity to make a submission directly to the inquiry. So I've made a submission to the chair of the Cybersecurity Inquiry. And I've written here some very important things, but in doing so, I've researched the New South Wales Constitution. We have the federal constitution, but we have the New South Wales state constitution as well. State Constitution 1902, which is subject to the federal constitution. It's actually written there in the clause. It says that it continues subject to the constitution of the Commonwealth Constitution. So basically, anyone in New South Wales they're under the federal constitution, but they're also got the state constitution, which is under that. But in talking about what's happening with issues with our cyber security, but why is this happening? I pointed out in my letter here some key points, like saying, hey, I know that there's just the inquiry into the cyber security, but I said I've gone beyond the terms of reference and spoken out about the fact that this is systemic problems here. This is the cyber security is just an issue. The fact of the matter is, why are things being privatised? What on earth is going on underneath and causing this to be the way that it is? And why aren't they heeding advice from even the Auditor General? So really, they are committing treason. As our representatives, as our Parliament, why are they passing these laws and bills if they are not in good, they're not acting in good faith of the voter? They're not acting for our good government. And so I've pointed out in my letter here, just specifically to address that, hey, you guys are committing treason against us. You're not making us safe. Why are you subcontracting out the IT of Service New South Wales to a foreign corporation that's 70% offshore? Why is this going on? Basically, they campaigned very strongly. Labor did campaign very strongly 4 years ago against the privatisation of Service New South Wales, which is still public, but they've privatised the services within it. So here's the problem, that, they're just doing whatever they want to do anyway. And it's time for us to speak up, because really, guys, our constitution, our federal constitution and our state constitutions are what is holding our country together. If we lose those, they are the backbone. They are the spine of every other law that happens here. But if we lose those, if we cannot hold our government to account to the Constitution, we're going to lose everything. That's the way it is. We're going to lose whatever it is in law that we've ever gained. Because if we cannot hold them to account to our federal and state constitutions and get an action and a result on that, then we've lost everything. So basically, I've pointed out here the constitutional issues that I'm addressing with my submission here as well. Apart from all the issues of having lost my data, I said pecuniary interest and offices of profit disqualify parliamentarians. So Gladys Berejiklian, our Premier, and her relationship with that man, it's very close on bordering on pecuniary interest, a financial interest through relationship or through some indirect means of personal gain. And it says here, New South Wales Constitution 1902, Section 13. Any person who directly or indirectly, himself or by any person whatsoever in trust for him or for his use or benefit or his account, undertakes, executes, holds or enjoys in the whole or in part any contract or agreement for, on or on account of the public service, shall be incapable of being summoned or elected or of sitting or voting as a member of the Legislative Council or Legislative Assembly during the time he executes, holds or enjoys any such contract or any part or share thereof or any benefit or emolument arising from the same. So they are not allowed to gain any material benefit whatsoever from being in their office in Parliament. And how many of them are actually doing that? What is their incentive to privatise things? What is their incentive to subcontract things out and they're being found out in these corruption commissions? They're being found out to have had fingers in the pie. And that is why they're subcontracting, I think. That's why they're doing it. It's because they've got their fingers in the financial pies, And that's against the Constitution. Federal Constitution, Section 44 says that they're totally disqualified from office from having pecuniary interests or office of profit under the Crown. And so the state constitution in New South Wales Constitution Section 13 answers to that, saying that basically anyone who does it at a state level is incapable, that they're disqualified from being in Parliament. How you going, Andre? Nice to see you. God bless. So here, in other constitutional issues I've raised with New South Wales cybersecurity inquiry, but I've raised the constitutional problems we actually have. The legislature, this is New South Wales Constitution Section 5. The legislature shall, subject to the provisions of the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, have power to make laws for the peace, welfare. Hang on. Why is privatisation of our key government assets and sending them offshore, why is that for the welfare of New South Wales people? So they're actually breaking this one. So it says that they shall have power to make laws for the peace, welfare and good government of New South Wales in all cases whatsoever. So, any law that they have passed, this is what I would say, that any law that they have passed that is not in our welfare, or it's not in our peace, if you live in New South Wales, if it's not in your welfare, or if it's not in your peace, or if it's not for your good government, the Parliament has not had power to pass that thing. So, they're acting unconstitutionally. They're acting ultra vires, beyond their powers. So, we need to hold them to account. So, here, committing treason. This is another thing that's happening in New South Wales. Committing treason against the Crown, if they've done that through any way in law. Certainly in Victoria this has been happening. But committing treason against the voter is something here that I wanted to point out also to our inquiry here. And I said, I'm just reading from my letter here, I said, treason against the voter. To commit treason against the voter, against their interest and representation, by exposing voters to risk, is a problem that needs Australia to stop and consider what is happening. Are we being sold out from within? Yes, we are. Privatisations and corporations bypass government and constitutional process, effective for international agendas. So this is what they're doing. This is why they're privatising stuff. is because it puts so much stuff under control of corporations that bypasses any of the normal legislation process. That's why they want to put stuff in corporations. That's why they want to privatise, because they get some quick money for it now, but later on they get to control events to happen quickly, or get corporations as subcontractors to act on their behalf without going through the normal legislative law process. This is why things are being subcontracted as well. Not just financial, it's also about control, because they get to, they do what they're doing in Victoria, where they're making these, separation of powers is a key part of our Westminster system. But you can bypass the separation of powers through putting things in corporations and giving them directives, So that's what they've been doing. And I said, I have seen Brad Hazzard in press interviews mention twice New World Order, which is clearly an international banking and one world government agenda. Have you seen him do that? Brad Hazzard is our health minister in New South Wales, and twice he has said New World Order regarding COVID. And I think one time seemed like a Freudian slip, but he has actually said on camera in press conference twice New World Order, talking about COVID being the New World Order, or the new normal, New World Order, and he's used these words. So I know that New World Order is an international agenda. It's a banking agenda. It's a one world government agenda. And the Constitution, the New South Wales Constitution, Section 34, actually is against that. So he's acting treasonously by saying that anything is New World Order, because he is not allowed to be part of or have any interest or benefit from the New World Order. Here we are. New South Wales Constitution 1902 Section 34 says, if any member of the Legislative Assembly takes any oath or makes any declaration or acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience or adherence to any foreign prince or power, or does or concurs in or adopts any act whereby he may become a subject or citizen of any foreign state or power, so they're not allowed to sell us out, or become entitled to the rights, privileges or immunities of a subject of any foreign state or power, or they're attainted of treason or convicted of felony or any infamous crime, they're not allowed to sit in the legislature. So Brad Hazzard, Health Minister, I would say he is committing treason if he's talking about New World Order, because in fact New South Wales should not be in anything, in any regard, to do with New World Order, or COVID being an entry point to the New World Order. They're actually transgressing Section 34 of the Constitution, because any parliamentarian that's cooperating or enabling any world agenda that's not under the Queen of England, or it's not brought to our attention in any way, or written in our Constitution that it's allowed to be done, then they are in treason. So he is actually committing treason by virtue. His own mouth condemned him, said that this is part of the New World Order. Because those words, even a Freudian slip, why would it be a Freudian slip? Because those words are being mentioned in private, in meetings, in secret, or that's the agenda that's going on, and he's accidentally said it. So, Brad Hazzard, if you ever watch this video, I'm saying here that under Section 34 of the New South Wales Constitution, you're not allowed to sit as a member of the Legislative Assembly at all. If you're in any cooperation whatsoever with any international agenda or foreign power. So, we really need to check our constitutions. We really need to understand what's going on, and especially our state ones. I don't think they're too onerous. They're not actually hard to understand or read by any fashion. And even the federal constitution's not hard to understand. But the more you look into it, the more you realise that our current governments, even state and federal, are sitting outside their powers. Maybe not entirely. It's hard to tell sometimes. But certainly areas they're acting outside of their powers. So they're sitting in treason. They're committing treason. And we cannot allow them to do so, and we must hold them to our Constitution. We've all got to rise up and say something and speak out and actually make submissions to them and say you're standing in breach. And you're in breach of your oath of office, for one, and you're in breach of the Constitution. So out you go. Get out. So what I want to do, and what I want us to do, if anyone's watching this video that has the same heart, by all means get in contact. But we need to get together to work out what on earth we're going to do. We need to get together to write some cheat sheets on the fact that these guys are acting outside their powers and why they are, and that we write the law down and we can hold that up to them with a piece of paper and say, this is what you're doing wrong. If at any time, we get pulled up on the street for doing something that's not even unlawful, but we have the power through knowledge. We have to get knowledge, and we have to use our knowledge to our advantage and expose the lies for what they are and expose these agendas for what they are. So, and get the truth out there. And God's on our side. The Lord loves us. The Lord loves Australians. The Lord loves truth. So this is why I'm sharing these things. This is why I'm sharing the gospel. Because ultimately, guys, you need to be right with the Lord. First and foremost, of course. But in sorting our nation out, we need to get onto the truth and get rid of the squatters that have been squatting on our law and using it to create worse and worse situations that are completely outside of the Constitution altogether. And that's exactly what they want to do. They want to create these loopholes that allow them to completely bypass the Constitution. Adolf Hitler did that. He created this one little law through the power of the parliament in Germany at the time that allowed him to create the whole war effort that he did. And everything that he did was like through one little loophole. That's what he did. And what it was an excuse to bypass Parliament and to just act on his own. And he became the law unto himself. And that was what Adolf Hitler did. And so Daniel Andrews has created the same thing through the state of disaster in Victoria. So we can't afford to let these health dictators create laws unto themselves and get beyond our Constitution. And we have to rise up. We have to take this stuff to the courts, because that might be all it is. Like down in Victoria, I was reading the other day that all the court cases regarding the fines, this is what I read, was that they were being delayed until 2021. So basically, and anyone that's actually gone to the High Court to contest these lockdowns of the radius or this stuff like that is very quickly after that, they're changing the game. That Daniel Andrews is re-announcing new measures or reducing restrictions or something like that, because it just doesn't stand up in the court. So we're going to have to be willing to get this stuff into the court, but at the same time, have our little cheat sheets here and say, excuse me, if you're going to arrest me for this, get me on body cam as actually having spoken the law to you. So, get them caught in. We have to catch them in their own lies and catch them in their deceit, because 100% that's what they're doing, and they're getting loud and proud about it, and they're going to make mistakes because of their arrogance. So we need to catch them out, guys. All right, catch you around. God bless. And if you haven't watched the start of this video, get back into the start of it, and you'll see the reason for this video was sharing my letter about the cybersecurity and the inquiry and various clauses in the New South Wales Constitution that our own Parliament in New South Wales has been breaking, and my response to that. So, God bless you guys. See you later. Be strong in the truth in Jesus' name. See ya.